All right, folks, Mark here again. Y'all know how to do, bring information, cook the books, and bring the info. I got my Mac truck. My truck is hat on. Mac truck. You know, I like this hat. This is like the hillbilly hat. You know what I mean? My Mac truck. But anyway, what I want to discuss real quick, to share some gems with you guys really quick. I've been studying magnetoencephalograph. I'll say it again, magnetoencephalograph, M.E.G, MEG, the abbreviation. What's magnetoencephalograph? It's pretty much a measurement of the magnetic field of the brain waves. I'll say it again. It's a measurement of the magnetic field created by your brains. Your brain, the activity of your brains create a magnetic field. They are able to measure that with specific and sensitive devices, right, can measure the magnetic field that surrounds your head. This is where they get the idea of a halo. When you watch cartoons and you see the little halo above an angel's head, the halo is a caricature or a cartoonish, you know, humorous way to talk about or to express the magnetoencephalograph, MEG. And again, it's a measurement of the brain's activity that creates a magnetic field around your head, which is where we get the idea for halos. Now, why I want to talk about that is because in your brain has what's called neurons, right? This is some deep, heavy stuff, so stay with me, watch this video twice, whatever. Your brain have what's called neurons, billions of neurons. Within each neuron, there's something called an ion. An ion is an electrically charged particle. It can be negative or positive, cation or anion negative, but the neurons fire off what's called electrical impulses along the synaptic network in the brain, right? So when the neurons are firing off these electrical impulses, the ions travel, they flow, creates a flow. The flow of the ions has a net result of a field. I'll say it again. The flow of the ions within the brain generated by the neurons, which are cells, that flow creates a field. That field is what's called a magnetic field. Now, here's the interesting thing. The neuron by itself, one individual neuron creating a magnetic field is what's called negligible or infinitesimal, meaning it is so small, the field is so small, it's negligible, meaning it's insignificant, it doesn't matter, it has no effect. But the billions of neurons firing off collectively creates a massive field. So each individual, you and I, we all have our own magnetic field that orbits our head every single day. Why is this important? Pay attention, very important. Within this magnetic field, it's called magnetic, meaning it attracts or it repulses, right? And whether your magnetic field is going to attract something to you or have a repulsion or repulsive effect depends on the alignment of the atoms or the ionic atoms within the field. I'll say it again. Whether you're repulsive, your field is repulsive or attractive, because remember, magnets attract or they repulse, and the attractive force or the repulsive force is dependent upon whether it's a positively charged object, person, or negatively charged object or person. So your brain becomes magnetized. You're magnetizing your brain to either attract or to be repulsive, depending, and what determines that is the alignment of the atomic ions within the neurons. Very, very detailed stuff. So, however you are aligned electrochemically, right? Because there's electrochemical properties. There are electrochemical properties that's inside of the neurons, and that's what we just discussed in the aforementioned. So whether you are attracting or you are repulsing is dependent on the alignment of those atoms. So you can magnetize yourself, magnetize your brain, and therefore magnetize yourself. How is this done? Is by meditation. First of all, it's done by first becoming aware of it. Being aware. If you're not even aware that your brain is magnetic and you can magnetize yourself, the same way you can take a piece of metal and rub it against another piece of metal that's magnet, or take something that's magnetic, a north pole or a south pole, and rub it against a neutral or a non-magnetic metal, and then that metal becomes magnetic, is because what you're doing by rubbing it to a magnet is that you're aligning all the electrons, all the ions in that object in a particular direction. The direction you align it in will determine whether it becomes positively charged or negatively charged, and therefore becomes attractive force or a repulsive force. You and I can do the exact same thing like that object. You can magnetize your brain, and that's M.E.G, magnetoencephalograph. That's the science of that whole thing. This is where the cartoon in X-Men, Magneto. Remember the cartoon? Magneto can use his brain to move any kind of metal objects in the cartoon. Well, this is where this is science behind this. So you and I have this power innately. There's an innate power within us to do that. Now, why is this? I'm gonna go a little further. Why is this so important? Check this out. The universe, right, exists. Well, let's bring this thing home. The world exists as a cloud of probabilities. The world exists as a cloud of motherfucking abilities. What that means is every single outcome that can possibly happen to you and I already exists in what's called non-material, non-physical, metaphysical, formless form. Metaphysical means beyond the physical. We live in the physical. Beyond the physical, every outcome that can possibly happen for every situation you're facing. If you're sitting down and you're pondering a situation, you're thinking about a decision, and you're thinking, well, what if this, what if that, what if that, what if this? All those outcomes that you're thinking in your brain already exist in the metaphysical realm, or metaphysical, infinite, formless form. It already exists there. Here's the thing. You and I have to figure out how to use the M.E.G, what we just discussed, how to use that to tap in to the non-physical form. The non-physical form is the infinite universe, the infinite formless universe, or the alternate universe, or the invisible realm. Everything already exists there. Every single outcome already exists there. So all we have to do is align the M.E.G with that which we desire, and that which we desire will show up in terms of manifestation, the physical counterpart. Your desire, I desire to make $1 million this year. That's my goal. You desire to make $1 million. That $1 million exists in the formless universe already. It already exists there. Once you understand the M.E.G, the mechanisms of the magnetic forces of your magnetic field and how to activate that, once you activate that, you are channeling, you're signaling, you are sending out what's called frequencies that's going to match. It's going to match the $1 million that already exists in the formless universe, and once it matches that, it's going to create what's called its corresponding or its physical counterpart. The physical counterpart is the manifestation of the $1 million. Your desire is $1 million. That's the desire is immaterial, it's formless. But once you activate that M.E.G, you're going to, in terms of frequency matching, you're going to match in the formless universe that $1 million frequency, the resources, the people, everything that's needed, all the resources that's needed to bring that $1 million into your life, you're going to match those entities in the invisible realm by means of activating the M.E.G. And then in time, that $1 million is going to manifest and show up in the physical realm, so that therefore now the physical counterpart of your desire is manifested in the realm. I'll say that again. Your desire, which is formless, its physical counterpart or corresponding equivalence, which is the materialization of that million, is going to show up in your physical realm. And the reasons behind this is because, remember, all things exist as matter. When a person tells you something doesn't matter, what they're saying is it has no physical form. When a person asks you what is the matter, what they're saying without knowing is they're asking you what form or what has manifested itself in a physical form that's bothering you. Because think about this, everything is matter. The universe, everything consists of mass and matter. Matter, mass, matter. And mass is just all the stuff that an entity is made of, an object is made of. My lungs, my heart, my kidneys, my liver, that's my mass. My weight, the distinction between weight and mass is my weight is gravity's, the Earth's gravitational force exerting its pull on my body gives me my weight. That's how you get your weight. That's the distinction between mass and matter. Matter, everything is made of matter, right? And when a person says it doesn't matter, what they're saying is there's no physical form. When a person asks you what's the matter, they ask you what has physically manifested that's bothering or troubling you. So the $1 million that you desire needs to be clothed with matter. It needs to be clothed with matter. It already exists. It just does not have the material form. So now by activating the M.E.G, you begin to activate all the resources, whether the resources is people, tools, the opportunities, circumstances, whatever all the conditions needed for the $1 million, you activate. And once you activate it, this is fun. This is spooky science right here. Electrons, neurons, neutrons, protons, these are the component parts of matter that I'm talking to. Atoms, subatomic particles, those things begin to work on their own. This is the beauty of it. This is the magic of it. They work on their own to clothe or give the material form to the $1 million. You and I play we play a significant and insignificant role. We play a significant role because we have to do the activating, but we play an insignificant role because once we channel, once we trigger, once we hit the switch, matter begins to form itself. It begins to materialize itself. This is how God spoke the universe into reality. What I'm breaking down to you guys right now is how God said, "Let there be light." Literally, that's what God did. Let there be light, and matter began to do what it does. You and I have that same innate power, not in the exact sense as God, but you understand what I mean. We can speak things because what? Here's the thing: God created us with words, right? God created us, and in creating us, therefore, He wired into your DNA the ability to be a creator. You were created, and therefore you have the ability to create. Why? Because it's wired into your innate DNA. Till next time, peace.